There you are in the kitchen, minding your own business, making dinner for your family. All of a sudden, a man in green comes in, stares at you, breathes heavily, takes your pot, drops on the ground, takes your money and leaves. You have no idea what to do. You have no idea why he didn't say anything. All he did was grunt and roll out the door. Who are we talking about today? It's Link. Everybody loves the man in green. However, sometimes he's blue instead. Link from Breath of the Wild is definitely a different pace to Legend of Zelda, but still welcome in the community. Today we're going to work on Link's hair. It looks concerning, but really just break it into 3 pieces. We have the bottom, we have the ponytail, and then we have the spikes on top. If you take these pieces of the wig and put them into smaller sections, they're going to be easier to handle for you. And with that, let's get started. We're going to start from the bottom. We're going to remove the bulk. We need those spikes really nice and clean. Make sure you move the hair around the ears so it kind of caresses the side of the ear and makes it comfortable for the wearer. Go ahead and take your teasing brush and go on the inside of the wig, put some hairspray on, and then seal it with some heat from the hairdryer. Then you take your picker and you take out all of those little gnarls that you made. It builds up dexterity inside of the wig so it can actually be spiked. Use your scissors again and remove more of the bulk from the little point of spike there. You don't want too much hair there, otherwise you won't have a fine point. And this is how it looks at the end when you start forming those types of spikes. They're really nice and sturdy. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually take more of the hair down and we're going to mend them into the spikes by removing bulk and adding it into the wig. This is going to sound crazy, but remove all of the wefts from the top of the wig. We have to remake that whole hair separation right here. So I removed everything at the top and I'm actually creating a felt topper to the top. It's a 99-cent piece of a material that you can get at any type of craft store. It's super easy. I take cling wrap and I kind of make a mold and I heat up the cling wrap so it really grabs on to the head. So it creates the nice curvature at the top. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be taking a Sharpie and I line where I'm going to put that felt liner. It's going to work out when I take it off and I cut out that piece. I can make a stencil, create my felt, and all I do is hot glue the felt to the top of the head. It's very simple. And the next thing I do is I actually take my free hair and I lay it down piece by piece. You can check my other tutorials for how to do that, but you need to make your own wefts to do this. It'll look like this. It'll be really nice and soft. I don't glue all the way down the head. I go about halfway down with hair so it stays in place. Now it's time to make the parting. This is going to be tedious, but it's actually pretty easy. You're going to take the wefts and just kind of line them up on one side of the head and then glue on the other. I mean, it's a kind of like a 50-50. So you'll put quite a bit over here and maybe not as much on the other side. So just take your hot glue, put it on top of the felt and push your wefts into the hot glue. It's gonna stay. I would suggest not sewing your hair. It's not worth it. It takes way too much time and the glue is, in my opinion, stronger. So I go through and I glue all of my hair down and it's never gonna move again. Even with the hairdryer and any type of heat, it's gonna stay in place. You'd have to put quite a bit of heat on it for the glue to actually detach. So I make sure to have both of my sides really nice and like snug up to each other so that there's like a little division so I can put in free hair. I'm going to create my own glued hairline that way. But I'm going to go back over to the side of the head and make the side locks that will be the face framing pieces. It's honestly all about just taking your time, making sure everything's nice and organized with the side locks. You're going to heat up your side locks and then tease it. When you do that, the heat will cause the fibers to kind of like get really nice and hot so that when you tease it and it cools, it will actually stay in that frizzy type of state. Now that sounds like something maybe you don't want, but things have to get worse before they get better, at least in the wig making world. So you're actually going to pick out all of those little frizzes that you made, and it's going to create a lot of body in your hair because you're trying to expand the hair to push it back together again, and then expand and push it back together again. And it creates a lot of strength when you do that. That's why people tease their hair. A lot of drag queens like to make their hair really nice and puffy and everything of the sort. And this is how they do it, is by teasing. Teasing and teasing and teasing. It takes a long time to go through. But you're also going to steam. Now the steam's going to condense that hair back together so that you can create really nice little intricate pieces of hair, just like those side locks where I could create those little, I would say, decoration or detail pieces. And you can even go through with your little picker or perhaps your rat tail comb and create little divots in the hair. And it'll actually stay because you created a really nice base for that hair to sit on. So kind of think of it like putty. You push your finger in, then it stays, right? So this is what I mean. You push your comb in and you can actually create these divots in your hair. It takes some practice, but with practice and patience, you can definitely do it yourself as well. Remember to always comb your hair before you set it down with any type of hairspray. Steam before hairspray, otherwise you'll get this disgusting glue mess and it'll make all of your tools disgusting and the hair unclean. So we'll move to the next part. And I made these little itty bitty hair wisps because it's kind of iconic for Link's hair to be kind of unkept, right? So I go through a slither cut. I remove some of the bulk by point cutting, and I go through and try and mend the hair back into that pulled back ponytail, just like it is in the game. So I go through and I steam it, and I use my fingers to adjust the hair to what I need it to be. Sometimes it's too long and you can remove some bulk, go back in, make sure you brush before you hairspray, put it down, and it will stay with just a little bit of got to be hairspray. It sticks like glue, just like it says it will. I highly suggest that brand compared to any other brand. It's really strong and it can go through a lot. So we're going to go to the sides of the head and we're just going to keep molding all of these little spikes that he has. Some are big, some are large. It'll take you a little bit of a time to kind of figure out what the ratio should be, like how much hair to put in each spike. And it's kind of just a guessing game, more or less. There's no written rules on it. Just follow your pictures and you should be good to go. So I didn't make the false hairline quite yet. I always do my spikes first, and then I'll move on to the hairspray. And then the very last thing I'll do is the false hairline. We want to keep things nice and neat and organized. If I put the false hairline in first right now, I probably wouldn't get those nice details in those spikes. So this is without the false. This is just a rough draft form. Yes, I have rough draft forms in my wigs. It's so I can go back and adjust where it needs to be adjusted. And sometimes that means I have to put more hair on to kind of bulk up the spikes. Toothbrushes. I learned about this year. Toothbrushes are fantastic for putting down like flyaways. They are really good for taming the hair. Highly recommend it. Get a soft bristle and a hard bristle. And I think that will work out really well. It's really nice and delicate. Zip ties are amazing for putting hair together. Those guys are not going to move. They're extremely tight. And I actually flipped mine kind of like inside out so that that little box guy would be inside of the hair. So I don't have this disgusting clump outside when I make the hairband. Like there would be a weird bump. So I wanted it interior so you couldn't see it. We're going to do the exact same thing we did to all of the other spikes when we are creating the ponytail. We need to create kind of like a hard shell on the inside for the hair to lay on. Go ahead and take your brush, go through, clean it up, make sure everything's nice and neat and organized, and make sure those flyaways are not seeable. That can make your wig look kind of messy. Steam is your best friend. Be careful with your fingers, but you can get really nice fine line details when you steam. But always steam and then hairspray. Do not hairspray then steam. It kind of gets like really gross and messy. But if you steamed and hairspray, you can go back and steam again just to pinch those edges really tight, like where the point of the spike is, so you can clean it up. I used EVA foam to create the hair tie. You can also just use typical craft foam. It doesn't have to be special. And that's it. This is how it turned out. I was really happy. The whole wig took me maybe about 25 hours to complete. It does take some time, but with patience, you can pretty much make anything. But there's going to be some trial and errors, so don't beat yourself up about it. I very much appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to watch my videos. I know they can be long, there's a lot of detail, but if you do want to up your wig making skill, this is definitely the place to be. I like to share, I do not like to gatekeep. Some stuff is more difficult to explain, but I'm willing to give it a try and see what I can do. I appreciate you watching. This stuff takes quite a bit of effort to make. I love making it. It's one of my passions to teach, and I want to keep doing this. Speaking of which, I'm actually thinking about offering one-on-one classes for wigs. I've been asked about this quite often, and I thought I would give it a go. So perhaps in the near future, in the next couple of weeks, I'll choose about 3 candidates to try out these wig classes and see how it goes. I'll probably have 3 different levels. So I'll have beginner, intermediate, and advanced. And advanced can also be custom made, so I can actually be there with you over camera and we can work on your wig together to try and hammer it out. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Please leave comments as well and share with your friends. It really helps me reach more of an audience. It's going to take me some time to get some grip on YouTube. Instagram I'm comfortable with, but YouTube is still new. I'm still trying, but thank you so much for watching and I'll see you next time.